Hello, guys. How are you doing? I'm glad that you've tuned in and it's not by mistake. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm trying to share the link and we're trying to get started. So tell a friend and let them tell a friend because it's yet Friday and yet another day to rejoice and, talk about life Friday nights. It's still okay. Welcome, guys. I'm going on to share the link. Go ahead, tell a friend, guys, that we have started, and it's a blessing that we are alive and well today. You can let me know who is watching, where you're watching from, how your how your week has been. If you're watching live, guys, it's a live podcast, and I'm glad that you're here. And it's not by mistake that you've tuned in. So if you're like me and Friday is just starting, go ahead, guys, and tell a friend. Together, let us build our lives. Like you see the topic, we are talking about social media and mental health in our teenagers, a parent's guide. Now, this is for parents. I hope every parent can tune in and, get to learn a thing or two or share with a friend or prepare for some of these things, because there are things that can happen without us being ready, and there are those things that come to us when we are prepared, and so we attack them better prepared. So I hope that you who is tuning in today, whether you have a teenager or you don't, you are going to be enjoying this and picking a thing or two. This is a parent's guide, social media and mental health. This is something that I thought we would also have to talk about here. On this channel, we talk about life, love, marriage, investments, anything in between is what we talk about. But again, now we need to talk about our children. We don't only talk about finances, investments, relationships. We talk about also those things because it's all about life, the heart. This channel is about digesting the heart, the Bible, but on Friday, it's dedicated to digesting the heart. So, guys, the heart is filled with everything: our children, our homes, finances, our relationships. Yeah, so this is also one of those things that we are going to talk about. Social media and mental health. Guys, social media has done its part. I'm not saying it's bad, like everything else. Everything that we see has its good and its bad. And today we are just out to see how social media has impacted us and our young people. I'm talking about teenagers, because these are the ones who are between the really small ones and young adults. So you can imagine what social media has done for them. It's not easy, so we are going to be dealing with that, talking about social media and mental health. A parent's guide. Yeah, a parent's guide. Now we won't be caught off guard. This time round, us as parents, we are going to be prepared so that we can stand in for our kids and help them function better, help them be better adults, because these are young adults. They need all our help, and they need us also to understand what it is that they are going through, what it is that life has thrown at them. So that's what we are going to talk about. I'm glad that you have tuned in, and I'll say hello, everyone. Welcome back to my show, Winfred, Digesting the Bible with Winfred. And this time, Friday, we are digesting the heart. And we are diving into the biggest parenting challenges of our generation. That is social media and mental health. I'm calling it that it's the biggest parenting challenges that we've had for our generation, because there are different generations. Excuse me. I say different generations because growing up, social media wasn't so much of a boom like it is now. Oh my goodness, there's Instagram, there's TikTok, there's Snapchat, there's Zoom, there's all these media platforms that you can't keep up. Before you know it, another one has come up. Oh, my daughters tell me these different apps that are coming up, the dating ones, the one for just entertainment. Like, there are people who I know just pay for Wi-Fi just to make sure they don't miss a thing on TikTok. You can imagine if adults can get that hooked, what about our children? You know, some of these things that we are dealing with, we have also not been so exemplary in. Because if as parents we stay away or we try and limit how much we put in to social media or how much power we give to it, guess what? Our children as well will be able to sieve. But when we don't do that, oh my goodness, our children have no choice but to follow, because teenagers are wired to just follow. Excuse me. Teenagers are not have skipped that stage where you just tell them, don't do this, you don't go there. You need to be exemplary. If I'm going to tell you don't drink, I start off by not drinking myself with them for it to click that drinking is not any good. You have to start off as a parent not drinking. And if you're going to tell them don't smoke, you have to start off as a parent not smoking, because that's how they get it. Otherwise, if you do it any other way, they are like, but mom is saying this and doing the other. So to them, it doesn't really make much sense. It has to make sense by what we do as grown-ups. There was a time I had gone with someone out and we had gone to a wedding, and I was watching. Actually, it was my husband who at the wedding, and he crossed his legs. On the table they had sat us was another young boy, I think about 13. And when my husband rested his hand on the chin, the boy did the same. When he crossed his legs, he was just seated across. He crossed his legs until it caught my attention, and I was like, you know what, there's a young man here who is looking up to you. I hope whatever you're doing is exemplary. And he observed it as well, but didn't make it obvious that he's copying him. So he tried and switched his hands, shook his leg while he crossed it. The boy did the same. So teenagers are more of now are people that are learning from what they see, not what they are told. Don't tell me don't smoke while you smoke. Don't tell me don't drink while you are always drinking over the weekend. So we are going to talk about social media and mental health. I hope that's a topic that is exciting enough, because I, for one, am excited, and I'm hoping that you are as well, because trust me, once you are on here, you learn so much and get to see your teenagers and deal with them differently, because then you'll be understanding what exactly they are going through, how to handle them. When you see one of those episodes happening in their lives, you're not like taken by surprise and don't know what to do. You know exactly what to do and how to handle them. So that is our topic of discussion. I hope I've done a good intro on this one. So if you're one who has got teenagers and have no clue as to what their world is about, if you're one who has got kids that are young adults, that's bordering, 11 years, 12 years, you need to tune in and listen to some of these, because these pointers will really help you get into their world and be able to help. Do you know that there are so many teenagers now that are suicidal, and yet that wasn't a case before? It is because social media has played a part, and our teenagers have nowhere else to run but to social media. So allow me today to talk about social media and mental health. This is a parent's guide to any parent out there, anyone hoping to become a parent, anyone who has just found themselves being parents, not because they had those kids, but because maybe they had a blended relationship, or because they are married to a man who has already got kids, or a wife who has come with kids. This will throw a few pointers at you, and you'll be able to handle your teenagers once this is a problem. So we are talking about social media and mental health. And let's be honest, social media is everywhere our teens live in a world where likes, followers, and online validation can feel more real than face-to-face friendship. Let's just face it, it's something that is going on. Our teenagers are looking for validation on followers. I mean, every time they are checking, has my number grown? Why are my followers not growing? Teenagers are checking, why didn't people like my video? They don't like my post. They get issues basing on social media. So we are going to talk about social media and mental health. I hope that is a topic that is interesting enough for you to tune in and stay tuned until the end. Guys, it's a live podcast, and those of you who have just come, you're welcome. I will read your messages. Your text, just go ahead and drop in the comment section who you are, where you're watching from, how your week has been, and what you have to say about social media and mental health. This is something that I've seen that has led to the destruction of many teens, and I thought of coming up with a parental guide on this one. Let's talk about it in this way. It's a powerful, it's addictive, it's shaping how young people see themselves. Social media. I mean, if you get on social media and see people living a certain way, your teenager is, just convinced that that's how life should be. While growing up, we didn't have that. We didn't have so much to compare with. So if you are at your home and you never went out, it was normal and it was okay. This day and age, oh my goodness, teenagers know that they have to go out. They know how others are living, the latest shoes, the latest clothing. So that has added so much weight on our teenagers today. And this is what it's doing to our teenagers. Our teenagers are stopping to be people that can mingle with us freely, and they are becoming a people that are depressed, because we have to accept it. It's powerful on our teenagers. As parents, we often get caught up between two fears: the fear of taking it away and becoming the enemy. Like when you take away social media, like I was thinking one time that maybe I just take off Wi-Fi so my kids don't get to, get online. But that's not it. Because guess what? Social medias are there to stay. Your kid can find a way. There is data share. I don't know where you're watching from, guys. It's a live podcast. You can let me know what you think about this topic. There is data share. Data share, your teenager can be online when you didn't even buy airtime or data bundle for them. So why not buy that Wi-Fi and get them to be on there, knowing exactly you are controlling. At this time it's on, at this time it's off. As opposed to us making sure they don't get online. That can't work. There's a parent in a school where my kids go who asked me whether my kids have phones. And I told her, yes, they do. There's no way I can keep them away from it. And she was like, so how do you handle that? And then I told her, how I do is I trust that they know enough. I've played enough as a parent in their lives for them to, just be able to get on there and use it rightly. Because it is hard for us as individuals to do it. So we are going to talk about that, and we are going to talk about the different things that can help us manage our teenagers with social media. The fear of leaving it unchecked and watching our children struggle silently. So today we are going to unpack all this. How social media affects our children. That is something we are going to talk about, how it affects our children's mental health. I know of a boy who actually took his own life because someone commented and said, you don't look good. You actually, and unfriended. Yeah, and he was seeing so many unfriendings on his social media, and he took his own life. So that's not something that should be pushed on the side. We need to be aware what's going on and then learn how to help them use it, because technology, guys, is not going anywhere. I remember when I went to a school meeting, to one of my kids, and the parents were complaining children are coming home and doing homework minus asking for help from parents. And a bunch of parents put up their hands and said, yeah, that is true. Why is that going on? Teachers, you should actually tell us textbooks that we should buy so that our teenagers use textbooks like we did, so they don't rely on social media. And I actually stood up and said, guys, wake up. The day that we live in is different. Your time, there was no gadgets, there was no chat GPT, there was no Google to help you. These guys have it. The least they can do is try to use it and use it right. Because gone are the days when we depended on textbooks. Now knowledge is wide. Oh my God, it can't be packed in just a textbook. So guess what is happening? It's out. You type in something and you get more than one reference, and that keeps you with a broad knowledge of what is going on. Now, parents have to be open to that. So you cannot keep your child from gadgets, from social media, simply because they need it. That day and era that they live in, they need it. But how do we help them use it safely? Yeah, we are going to talk about how social media affects our children's mental health, what warning signs parents need to look out for regarding social media, and most importantly, how we can guide instead of control our kids online. I will be sharing true stories and experts backed up advice and simple step-by-step help to help your family and find a balance, because we need to really get to that place where we have a balance between our children using it, because it's not going anywhere. Believe you me, social media is here to stay and it's bombarding us. The least we can do is get aware of what our children's world is. Because if adults can be hooked to TikTok, guys, think about our children. I mean, you're a grown-up person who knows you have to have time to work. You need to do certain things, but some people are really glued to scrolling. You know, all you do is scroll. Even when it comes to friending, even if these dating apps, you just scroll. You don't like that one, you scroll and find another one just like that. So life has been made, it seems like it is made easier. Yeah, and everyone will vouch for social media being okay. And it's okay, but we just have to learn how to use it right. I hope that intro is good for you. So whether you are listening from home, in traffic, or winding down after work, stay with me, because this might just change how you see your children's digital world. I'm telling you, it might just change how you see your children's digital world. Now we are going to talk about the reality of the digital world. Let's start with the truth. Our teens are the first generation to grow up entirely online. Our children, we didn't grow up like that, entirely online. I'm talking about you have a baby, you're busy doing other things, you put a tab in front of them and it entertains them until you finish what you're doing and get back to them. So our children are the very first generation that has grown up online, entirely online. Because from months, my daughter surprised me. She was about 3 when I gifted her a fake tab. You know, I come from Uganda and our Chinese brothers have brought those things here. So I brought one. I was giving the sisters tabs to use because they were using them to study. But for her, I got for her a fake one. Now, you know those white, they are like a big plastic box and you put a stick and when you press on, they just go on making noise. That's the one I got for her. And she looked at it one time. I think she was about 2.5, going to 3. And she threw it away and said, I don't like it. That's not the one I want. That's not real. At that young age. Now it goes to show you that social media, internet, gadgets, social media are here and here to stay. So our generation, guys, our children are the very first one to grow up entirely online. For them, social media isn't an app. It's a lifestyle. For us, we call it an app because it's something you just got on your phone. You're learning how to use it. For them, it's a lifestyle. They've grown up on entirely online. They use it to connect. Teenagers use it to connect. They use it to express themselves. They use it to explore and even to escape. When I say they use it to connect, That is how they make friends. It's not understandable to us. We don't understand it, how you can have 1,000 friends who don't know a thing about you except what you have put there, even when it's fake. They use it to express themselves. If they are sad and can't speak up to us as parents, guess what they do? They go on their profiles and then post these videos, which we are blocked from seeing. And they tell us, like there was this teen who said, my mom annoyed me and for this I'm going to run away from home. You know, that is their avenue of expressing themselves. They use it to explore, get to find out what is out there. Yeah, social media, and even to escape. You know, if it is tough at school, they don't understand things, or at home, the environment is not good, the father is always arguing, the mom are always fighting. Guess what the kids do? They use social media as an escape. Now, when we get to understand all these things that social media means to our children, we are able to help them. But while it gives them a voice, it can also gently steal their peace. So that's why it borders to mental health. Think about this. An average teenager spends over 5 hours a day on social media. Believe you me, 5 hours on social media. That's more time than sleep or school breaks, because in the morning when they go, the school breaks are you study from 8 maybe up to 10 and then have your break. They have 5 hours of social media and even scroll, like they scroll. All they do is scroll, they like or comment. The scrolling and liking and commenting triggers a small a hint of dopamine that the brain feels good. That brain feel good chemical, that dopamine, that makes them feel good. You know, like you got a like on your post or you got a comment. It makes them feel good. To us, it may not make much sense because that comes with age. When you're older, you just don't care. When you post something, whether someone watches or they don't, it doesn't really matter. But for teenagers, my goodness, it does matter. Who posted, who liked, who unfriended, it really matters and means a lot to them. So now, guys, think about it that way, that if it means that much, we are now going to address. So you can't just come and take it away lest you create a lifetime enemy. It is that important to them. Like I was saying, the brain feels good, that brain feel good chemical, that dopamine that is created when they are on social media sounds harmless, right? It sounds harmless. But over time, their brain starts to depend on that instant hit of validation. It starts unknowingly, it just starts, and they feel like, I posted a video. How many people watched it? How many views? How many likes? Oh my goodness, I think people don't like me. I think I'm ugly. And what is out there? I've realized something about social media. They don't post reality. When people don't have, they don't post. What they do is post when they are eating out, when they are shopping, when they are on holiday. So it gets these teenagers who have not experienced the same to feel bad. But that doesn't mean it's the reality. Because people I know of some people who go to places and change clothes and just take pictures. And you know, like you go to this place, you eat, the same day, you take so many pictures in many places, and then it appears like you're always outing. And yet you went one time to one place, and probably you just went there with friends and you went to the toilet section. Like I know this place called, it's Arena Mall. There's a bunch of teenagers who go there, and all they do is go in the corridors and take pictures and take pictures. All they do is do that. And you don't understand it. To the point that I saw one of them take pictures with my daughter, and I was like, what in the world are you doing when I'm right here? And I grabbed the phone from him and said, what have you just done? And he said, I saw her outfit. I thought it was cool, so I took a picture. I was like, no, she's not a model. Neither is she a dummy. So you're going to take down those pictures, because that's how they just go and pose around like they are changing girlfriends, like they are the coolest thing everyone is fighting for, and yet they are not. So to them, social media, guys, means really a lot. I want us to understand that bit. When it's missing, it's anxiety that kicks in. When they don't get that dopamine, that good feeling from social media, anxiety kicks in. A 14-year-old posts a selfie. I'll give you an example. A 14-year-old posts a selfie. Within 10 minutes, only a few likes, she deletes it because it in her head, it didn't get the much attention that is required. That's why you see many of them are going on there and just posting their parts of the body, because that immediately gets likes and gives her that dopamine that she's looking good. People like her. Can you imagine? Now, we don't understand it as grown-ups. Yeah. Convinced that she's not good enough. That's why they take them down. The moment there are few likes, it has to be many likes. I mean, I post on here, even right now on the live, you guys are watching. I don't see any of you have liked. I really don't care whether you like or you don't. If you do like, it's good. But if you don't like, I don't depend on it. And as in, my validation is in your likes. I appreciate those of you who like, and thank you. But if you don't, it doesn't mean it's a death sentence. But teenagers look at it that way so much that it means a lot. If a video is posted or a picture is posted 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and it doesn't have the likes that she wants, then it's taken down. And in her head or his head, it means she's not pretty enough or he's not handsome enough. That's not vanity. That's self-worth being shaped by pixels, because that, according to the likes, that's what she thinks of herself. If she puts and immediately it gets 100 likes, then she is, in her mind, she's worth something. But if it doesn't, then they pull it down and they feel like they are not any good, no one likes them. So we need to understand that as parents, because parents, that's where we come in. As parents, that's where we come in. Not as critics of technology. We need to get that right. But as coaches, teaching emotional balance to our children. Yeah, that is when we come in as parents, to teach them how to balance it out. That just because you posted something and few people liked, just because you posted something and it did get comments, doesn't mean it's not good. Your validation is not in what you posted and the likes that came up or the comments. It's you being you and wanting to share. I don't even know, I don't understand it why they put their lives out there, but they do. And because it means a lot to them, we as parents, we come in. Now we go to the next segment, which talks about how social media impacts mental health. Let's break it down to how social media exactly affects mental health, especially in children and teenagers. Here are 5 key areas that we are going to deal with. The comparison trap. Guys, there is that trap where they start comparing themselves to what is out there. They compare their lives to filtered highlights, reels, to filtered pictures, filtered videos, highlights or reels that are out there, and they are comparing themselves. And because, like we say, they are young adults, they don't know that all this could not even be real. It could be filtered. But they start comparing, oh my goodness, that one has a nice color, or that one has a nice shape, or that one has the best hair. They don't know the difference, and so they start comparing. That is why I said it leads to a comparison trap. Everyone looks happier on social media. Everyone looks thinner, richer, more popular. That constant comparison with teenagers leads to low self-esteem and even depression. So as parents, we come in and encourage our children on what the truth really is. How many times do you go out and see those kind of people out there? But on social media, they have their shit all together, if I may put it. It's not the best, but they are putting it out and presenting it like it's the best. And guess what? Our teenagers are falling prey and they are being caught up in that comparison trap. That is the one thing that we need to look out for. The fear of missing out is also another thing that we should look out for. They see friends hanging out, because before, like I said, if you grew up in a family where you don't eat out, you've never gone out, you don't visit, you don't know what is out there. But now social media is flaunting, guys, and putting all that uncalled for pressure on our teenagers. And when they don't go out, they feel like they're missing out. I remember one of my daughters asking me to go out sometime with her friends after school. And I was like, no, you won't. And she said, but why, mommy? My friends are enjoying. She tried it the first time, the second time, third time. I mean, that it never stopped. Until one time she said, I think, mommy, you're just out to, destroy my life. I don't have a social life. I said, you will have it when you grow up. I didn't have it. I can't give you what I didn't get. So we would argue about that until it sank in her head that, you know what, that is a lifestyle for those people who got it growing up. I can't give you what I didn't get. So guess what? She now doesn't even bother telling me people are going out. She's, and if she really, really sees that it's worth going to, then she comes to me and I'll be like, okay, we'll talk about it and see whether it's good for you. And if it is, you will go. But social media has painted such a picture that people are enjoying all the time. Like it's now Friday. Kudos to you guys that have not gone out. Oh my goodness, now it's already party time on TikTok, on these other social, Instagram, people showing themselves drinking, dancing, going out, preparing to go out. And if you're not, it feels like really you're missing out. So that's what social media has done. Because once they don't have what they see on social media, then they feel excluded. Even if they weren't close to those friends, they feel excluded because others are enjoying. They think out there you just go and you start enjoying. Like one of my kids, this one now is younger. She came and told me, Mommy, I want us to go out. She had got new shoes and some new clothes. And she said, I want us to go out to a party. And I told her, so you want us to go? Yeah, when? Today. I said, okay, we can go out to a party. In her head, she thinks the moment you get new clothes, it's time to go to a party, and new shoes. That is how naive our children get, guys. They see what is posted on social media, even when they don't know the people that are on there. They want to be a part of what is going on. They think life is happening out there. So we need to explain it to them as we go along. Another thing we need to look out for is cyberbullying. Guys, that one is bad and it is real. Unlike traditional bullying, this one follows them everywhere 24/7. That is why it is very serious and we need to pay attention to it. Cyberbullying. It follows them 24/7 and it's everywhere because there are harsh comments that are given. Have you ever posted a video and someone throws in this harsh comment? Say like you didn't, wear very nice and you don't look good in this color. And then if that comment came to a teenager, it would really impact them a lot. So we should be on a lookout for cyberbullying. Yeah. Harsh comments, threads, or being left out of a group chat, all that can deeply scar a teen's sense of safety. And before you know it, a person who was bubbly, a person who was talking, can't do that anymore. Something has broken in them. Probably someone unfriended. Probably someone said, you don't even look so good. You're too thick or you're too thin or you're too this, because people will always find faults. And our teenagers, like I said, are young grown-ups. If you have watched my previous videos, I always describe them as people with a brain that is under construction. If you've been on any site and the house is under construction, my dear, debris can be everywhere and anything can happen anytime. You can't be like, I've just cleaned here, who has messed it up? Because it's messy, because there's construction going on. So that is the brain of our teenagers. They have a brain that is under construction. Now, if someone comes in with cyberbullying, harsh comments, unfriending, excluding our teenagers from their group chats, that can affect them and scar their sense of safety. That is something we need to look out for. And also sleep disruption. If that late night scroll keeps the brain alert, and the blue light that comes off our phones, our tabs, suppresses their melatonin. And guess what happens? It causes them to be depressed. The sleep hormone, many teens are exhausted but can't disconnect from social media. you feel the brain is tired. You've watched enough, but for some reason you can't stop scrolling. I know my teens come from school and they have homework, loads of homework, but they sit in the chair and say, one of them can say, I'm just going to sit here and just get my phone and just scroll just a little bit. Then after that, as I unwind, then I can do my homework. And before you know it, it's been 2 hours. So that a sleep disruption can also, be a thing that we should look out for. And validation addiction. It can get so addictive, guys. When approval comes in likes, kids start chasing that next fix of, I've posted this, why are people not liking? It's validation for them that they are good enough, that they are not good enough. If it works, if a video performs very well and gets many likes, then they are good enough. If it doesn't, then they are not good enough. Something is going on. Why is it not performing? That validation addiction, we need to be on a lookout for that as well. They may even post things out of character just to fit in. They may do that when a pressure is too much. They may post things out of character. Like I saw this parent who was beating up her daughter on TikTok because the daughter was posting her nudes out there for the world to see. And the mom found out. All along, she didn't know about the channel that the girl had. And while scrolling, I think she must have also been going to the wrong channel, or someone saw and let her know what the daughter is doing, and she was disappointed, beat her up, and took the phone and crushed it. And she may think that is a solution to her daughter's problem, her act up, but that's not. And you will see why I say that. Because you may crush her phone, and guess what? She gets someone who buys her another one. And guess what? The price she pays to get that new phone that you didn't give her will be big. Because nothing is for free. So she will have paid. And once she's paid, then she will become more secretive. This time round, not seeing that phone. If it is a channel, she can even do it at school with her friends. And you're bragging, my kid doesn't have a phone, my kid is not on those things, and yet she doesn't have a phone, right? Probably, but the friends do, and they open up that channel for her, and she posts. Whenever she's with them, she's posting, and you are in the dark. So think about it, guys. I'll give you an example. I met a parent once. Her 13-year-old daughter had become withdrawn. It turned out she was being body shamed anonymously on Instagram. Someone was telling that she's got no shape. How can someone say that? Yeah, she didn't tell anyone for months because she feared her mom would take her phone away. But by the time someone says you don't have any body shape, it is because you've been exposing yourself. And someone commented, you have no shape. But who doesn't have a shape? We all have, whether it's according to the world standard, the best, or it's not. But we do all have a shape. But someone commented on social media that you have no shape. What are you even doing on social media posting? And that hurt her a lot. Yeah. So she didn't tell her mom of what was going on because she feared her mom would take her phone away. Now, this is a reminder, guys. Sometimes kids hide pain. Not because they don't trust us, but because they fear losing their online world. She thought her mom would take away her phone, and so she kept it to herself. And this went on and on. And this person found pleasure in constantly commenting about her legs, commenting about her lack of, how we call it in Uganda, nyash, her lack of hips. Like the world standards are based on those things that the other party was talking about. So we need to be on a lookout for that and also be aware of that. Now, our third segment will be also understanding the teen brain online. We need to get to that place. If we don't understand our teen's brain, we will misfire on so many accounts. And guess what? We won't be able to help our kids once that happens to them. The teenage brain is wired, for starters, for rewards and risks. That is how God wired teenagers. That's why you see when we have some of you who have parents, they made their worst mistakes in their teenage age. That is when you had that first pregnancy. That's when you first had that impregnation. That is when you first had alcohol, smoking. It is not common for someone to pick up habits while they are grown up in their 30s, in their 20s, because then the brain has grown up a bit. And so you can tell the difference between what is healthy for you and what is unhealthy, between what is good for you and what is not good for you. Now, that is something that we lack when we are teenagers. Yeah. So the brain of a teenager is wired for rewards and risks. And I'll explain that further. That means they are drawn to excitement. If there's anything that is exciting, that's why you see when people are drinking and they seem high and they seem happy, teenagers will be in it. I mean, if they are vaping and they seem like it's the coolest thing, they will be drawn to it. Why? Because it's rewarding, because it's risky. Yeah. And social media approvals also draw teenagers. Social media gives them all the three instant feels, the novelty. Social media does give that. When a teen gets online or comment, when a teen gets a like online or a comment, their brain releases dopamine, something that may not happen for us. You know, like you guys are watching. And thank you for watching. It's a live podcast. Go ahead, drop your comments. I will read them. But you guys are watching. And I can see here there are 6 likes, but there's more of you watching. Now, just because you've not liked won't mean that I will, stop living. But to a teenager, if I go on live, say like I'm a teenager and I go on live and you don't like my video, all of you that are watching, guess what? I will feel less validated. I don't feel like it's worth something to do again. But since we are talking about teenagers and the dopamine that is released from likes, guys, go ahead and like. If so far what you've heard is interesting, go ahead and like. It will release some dopamine probably in me as well, and I'll be able to do other videos. But for teenagers, guys, when they post something and get a like or a comment, their brain releases dopamine, the same chemical linked to motivation and addiction. It's that chemical that is released in them. Over time, this rewires the brain to crave more and more, like more attention, So if before they were posting just pictures of their faces, they start releasing pictures of more flesh exposed, like they wear more sleevelesses. It's like before they were covering up, they start taking more pictures with less covering, craving for more attention, craving for more stimulation. How do I get my numbers to go up? And so they start, craving for more things that would get their views up, more scrolling. If they are online, they will scroll fast. And then before you know it, they are just addicted to scrolling. And it's midnight, it's past midnight, it's 1, it's 2, it's 3. They are awake on social media. Yeah. So when parents say, just get off your phone, it's not as simple for many teens. That phone isn't a tool. It's a lifestyle. It's a lifeline for them. It's like you're taking away their life. Part of their life is there. So when you say get away from your phone, for a teenager, it's a lifeline. I mean, I can also see it on my younger ones when actually they watch or they get online and you try to get them to do something and they are walking around with the tab. It's not healthy. So we need to find ways of dealing with that, and we are going to be handling that shortly. That's why our approach must shift from punishment to a partnership with our children. And now our segment 4, how parents can engage without controlling their teenagers. Yeah, we are going to talk about the most important part, your role as a parent. How do you guide without controlling? We are going to have 6 practical tips, and I pray that if we practice them, guys, these will help us be able to handle our teenagers and their mental health. So we are going to talk about model health use. Yeah, model health use. In this, kids copy, guys, what they see. If we are always on our phones, they will follow the set example. So as a family, take boundaries like no phones at dinner should be something that we implement. We need to live by example where we, as well as parents, don't do what we are not, don't preach to them what we are not practicing. So we do regulate. How many times do we use our gadgets at home when our kids are around? If it is time to spend time together, let us all put our gadgets away so they learn from what they see, that my parents, when it's this time, we don't get online. So they give and tell their friends, I can only be on my phone up to this time. That would help. Ask, don't accuse is another thing that we need to do for our teenagers. Instead of us always being on the phone, let's try, hey, I noticed you've been online a lot. How are you feeling today? That would also help. Instead of us asking, accusing them, you are always on your phone. I don't understand why you ever get out of this. Instead of us accusing, let us be more of, ask people who ask. You ask them, I've noticed you've been online the whole day. How are you feeling? Sometimes it's because also me, sometimes when I feel tired, one way of unwinding is getting on there and just getting on my phone and playing some Candy Crush. It really helps me unwind. But when I'm on my phone, especially when I'm talking with someone on WhatsApp, my kids notice and they can come and just get on there and also just do what they want. After all, they saw mommy on the phone and not leaving. So that is something we need to also do. We ask them, not accuse them of what they are doing on there. Learn their platforms. If they are on TikTok, join Instagram, join Snapchat, not to spy, get me right, not to spy, but to understand. Know how the apps work. Knowing how they work helps you talk their language. We need to get on those apps so we know what is on there. There's a time I got on Snapchat. Oh my daughter said, Mommy, Snapchat takes nice pictures. So get on it. And I got on it. And when I got on there and I saw what people were sending me, I was like, I don't even know what you guys are doing on here. I'm just going to delete it and remove it from my phone. It's not helpful because I got to see what was going on. And to me, it seemed childish. Just people just exchanging pictures, showing their latest shoes. I'm not into shoes, showing their latest clothes. That's not my cup of tea. So we get to know their world by getting onto those apps. If they're on Snapchat, you get to understand, okay, as young people, I think this means something to them to show off. It's their avenue of showing off. But if we don't get on those platforms, we will not understand their world and speak their language. Yeah. Co-create rules. Another thing that could help us. Practical tips on how to help us control. How do we guide our teenagers and not control them? Another one would be co-create rules. Sit together and agree on screen time. Screen time limits, when they help make the rules, trust me, they are more likely to keep them. But if they don't help you make those rules, it looks like you are a dictator, and guess what? They will be always working towards breaking them. So how do you get them to work with you? Is by sitting with them and making them together. Because the moment you do that, guess what happens, guys? They will make sure they keep them because they sat with you and agreed to keep them. Or these are the rules that would run this whole thing. So another thing is balance online with offline joy. We need to create some kind of a balance for our teenagers. Encourage hobbies like sports, real friendship, because people can have friends, 1,000 friends, 1,000 followers, 900, 500, but none of them knows you for who you are. Neither do you know all of them. But you say you have 1,000 friends. So encourage them to have real friendship with people. to have some bit of hobbies or join some sports. Online happiness reduces online depression. Sorry, offline happiness reduces online dependency. Like now, for me at home, I have dogs. When I tell my daughter, leave the phone alone or stop playing with the tab, the next thing, Mommy, can I go and be with the dogs? And I'm like, yeah, you go and be with them. Because that's one way. We have to create those other things that they can escape to. You can have a rabbit project where your children at least can go and get into something, or get them into drawing and painting. You buy books and let's compete who draws the best this particular picture. Some of these things we think require a lot of money, but they don't. Some of these things are cheap. We can have joy and offline joy without spending a lot of money. I know for us, we think it is only the rich who can afford such a lifestyle, but we can have true joy even without spending so much. You buy some books and get some pencils and start competing drawing, and it's known to them, like especially now when they are about to have their breaks from school. You can have this in place. You know, you're 7 at home, you buy 7 books and buy colors, buy markers, buy pencils. And then when they are home, you can say, after this time, let's draw. And we all dig in and just draw and see who has the best. You know, at the end of the day, you pick up a picture on the phone and say, we are drawing this, and you all start. Or you can do sports. You buy a ball and play football. There are times we've played football and you won't believe who scored. I was the best scorer. If any of you can believe me, I was the best scorer. But anyway, there are so many ways we can unwind offline. And like I said, offline happiness reduces online dependence. And another thing that we need to adapt to as well is stay curious, not critical, but curious. Curious enough, if your teen shares something you don't get, like a meme, yeah? There are memes we don't understand, because these things, guys, work with age. Remember, they are the first generation that has been brought up entirely online. So they understand so many things, and we just have to get to that point where we accept our teenagers do understand more than we do. Our teenagers do know things more than probably we do. So if your teen shares something you don't understand, like a meme, a trend, a song, don't judge. Be curious. It builds trust in our children when we trust them and we don't judge them, but we are curious enough to find out what it's all about that they are into. Now, this leads us to segment 5. Yeah, spotting the warning signs that your teenager is bordering now mental health, basing on social media. I would say this, parents, here are some real red flags that social media might be hurting your child mental health. I hope someone is listening, guys. It's a live podcast, and you can go ahead and drop in the comment section. If any of this is helping you, if any of this is guiding you, drop in the comment section. Let me know your experiences and who is watching. Otherwise, back to what we're talking about, it's spotting the warning signs that your child may be dealing with mental health. The sudden withdrawal from family or friends. If your child pulls away all of a sudden and is not into visiting people, talking to people, if they're in a place that is small and they don't have their own rooms, they find always their corners and they just want to be by themselves. You need to be on a lookout for that one, because that one could be a sign that your child is bordering mental health. Something could be going on basing on social media. The frequent mood swings, over something small, they are changing, they are being aggressive. It's because something is already happening somewhere else in their world. And so they are bringing it out to your real world. That is why they are acting the way they are. So you need to also be on a lookout for that. Check it out, find out, why is my child frequently having these mood swings? Then the obsession with the likes and followers. That is very obvious, because if you see your child taking down pictures, like you take a picture eating and then after that you take it down, you need to be checking them out to see why is that happening, because chances are it's happening because they are looking for validation. They are already validating themselves basing on social media. So you need to check that out. The obsession with likes and followers. Then the decline in school performance. I know decline in school performance can be dependent on so many things, but if your child was performing well and all of a sudden they are really going down and spending more time on their phones, you just know social media is taking them down the drain, and you check into that and see what is really going on. Those are the pointers to social media being a factor into your child's mental health. Something could be going on. The secretive phone use. If your child is always secretive when they are using their phones, they are probably into something that you don't want them to be into, and that could be taking them down the drain. So check that one out as well. The expression of worthlessness. Like they feel like they are worth nothing. Something could be going on. Check it out, guys. Because like I said, there's cyberbullying. If your child has been bullied or is being bullied online, you will not know, but you start seeing them losing self-worth. And if you check deeper, you will see that probably someone online is saying they are not ugly, they should go, do something to themselves because they don't belong here, they should be in another world. People throw around all kinds of comments. Now, some of us grown-ups, we can handle this. I'm not saying all of us are strong enough to handle that, but some of us can, some can't. But our teenagers are way young. Like I said, guys, they are young adults. And like I said, they have a brain that is under construction. If you are building something and you put the wrong cement, the building will crumble and fall to the ground. Same applies to our children, our teenagers. Once they are cyberbullied, once something is going online that is not healthy for them, you just see obvious things happening to them. It's obvious to us, but we tend to, dismiss or not pay close attention to, especially if we come in the evening tired from work and then having to leave early in the morning. Some of these things can go on without us noticing. Or if we put them in boarding school and things are going on in boarding school and you have no idea, and they are young adults trying to learn how to deal with all this, make sense of why they even have to go to school anyway. It's a lot, guys. It's a lot. So we just have to get into their world, understand them, and then help them. So if you notice several of these, it's not time for blame. It's time for conversation and care. If you see any of the things that I've listed below happening to your teenager, don't blame them. It is time for you to care, to have those conversations and to care. Because if you don't, we don't want to live in regrets. Guys, we work so hard and all our efforts are tailored to our children having a better world. I trust me, I don't know about you guys, but my dream, my greatest desire is to see that my kids have a better life than I had growing up. But guess what? While I'm doing that, I don't want to lose them. I want to give them all that I didn't get, but again, be able to retain a fully functional or healthy person at the end of the day. Try saying, if, like I said, if you see any of those things that are going on, it's not time for blame. It's time for conversation and care. Now, you could try by saying, I've noticed you seem sad lately. You could just start off like that. And I'm worried about you. Can we talk? There's a way we think our children, I don't know where that came from, a mentality that is in Africans. We don't think our children need to be recognized. Actually, there are some people who say kids have no say. There's this lady who carried a child, and They were in many people, and the lady farted. And then she started blaming the kid, and the kid said, "No, auntie, it's not me, it was you who was tearing." And the auntie, out of embarrassment, beat the boy up, and she knew she had done it. So we need to also recognize that our children, our teenagers especially, are young adults. They are not yet adults, but they are not young anymore. As we used to take it, where they could take anything, we could blame them for anything. They had no say. They are young adults. Once you understand that, guys, then you'll be able to recognize that while you're dealing with them, you need to treat them as such. Now, if you use that approach where you say, "I'm worried about you, can we talk?" And if they don't open up immediately, stay patient. We need to learn how to handle them. Keep showing love through consistency, not lectures. I mean, they get all these talks from their friends and all these other social media platforms, not lectures, just small talks. Yeah. Now, it leads us to the next segment, segment 6, reconnecting through digital empathy. Yeah, reconnecting through digital empathy is what we are going to talk about. I call it digital empathy because understanding their world without condemning it is what it would take. We need to understand their world without condemning it. Remember, guys, I keep on saying that it's the first generation to grow up online. This generation of teenagers that we have, it is the very first generation to grow up entirely online. I mean, from being 6 months, your parents leave you in a walker, put a tab, and you just sit there as a baby before you even learn how to move your hands, watching at all these, videos. And then as you get older, it's worse. They put for you a program and you just sit and just watch. People are not even buying TVs like we used to. They are buying smart TVs as good as big phones. So your child can just scroll or can just type or can just still move the remote, and they are on a different show altogether. So the next segment is reconnecting through digital empathy. I call it digital empathy because understanding their world it would take understanding their world without condemning it. Here's what that looks like. Watch a fun video together. It doesn't cost you anything, guys, to just get on you find them watching something, you just sit with them and watch it together. Laugh with them. Some of our teenagers don't even know how we laugh. They don't even know that we get excited and laugh as well. Why? Because it's been so long since they spent that time with us. So watch a fun video together and laugh together. Let your children see you smile. Let them see you laugh. Ask them to show you how TikTok trends work. Because some of these things we don't know. Me, I don't feel shy in asking my kids. Like I was asking her certain things the other day, asking, why is this here? What does this do? You ask, and that is one way of spending time with them, getting into their world. Let them teach you something online, like editing a photo. How do you do it? How do people do it? Pretend. If you know so much, just pretend you don't. And you'll be surprised. That opens them up and they'll show you more things. Yeah. Or using an app. You can just pretend you don't understand Snapchat. And you'll be surprised if your kid is in Snapchat, how they come to life and tell you all these things. And before you know it, they would start saying, Mommy, also you follow this one. It's a nice one. They've just posted this, watch it. That is how we get into their world and get to understand them without judging them. And if what they are into is not really that good, we can always have a base to, talk to them, and they can realize it for themselves that, what, I think it's not that good anyway, And I'll give you an example, guys. A dad once told me his son never talked until one day he asked, hey, can you show me how Discord works? And that one question became their new bonding space just by asking that. And from that time on, they were spending time on just that, because He asked and he knew, and so that bonded them. Parents watching live, drop in the chat. I want you to drop in the chat what your biggest struggle when it comes to your child and social media. I just want any parent that is watching online, I want you to drop in the comment section, yeah, what your biggest struggle is when it comes to your child on social media. I just want you to drop in the comments. I will read it. Is it screen time? Is the screen time as in how long your kids stay online? Is it that problem, or is it time safety? Yeah, sorry, online safety, as in you're worried your teenager is not safe online. I want you to just drop in the comment section. Is it comparison? Yeah, I want to hear from you. If you're watching, drop in the comment section. It's a live podcast, guys, and I'll read it after a given slot. But if it's anxiety, guys, sleep issues, loss of confidence, yeah, you are not alone. I just want to let you know that you are not alone, because that happens to almost many teenagers. These are common and fixable challenges, because there are others which are not fixable. There are others which are not common, but these ones are fixable challenges. I'm talking about if your challenge is anxiety, sleep issues, loss of confidence, they are fixable, guys. And I just want to encourage you that you are not alone, because those are common and we'll deal with them. So segment 7 is going to talk about health digital habits for the whole family. Yeah, we are going to come up with them so that we are able to help our teenagers be able to cope with social media and prevent mental health. So here are some powerful digital wellness must start as a family culture, not as a punishment. You can try these and these few practices, and I bet you they will help a lot. Yeah, take free zones. You can have that one as the very first one, where you say the bedroom, the dining areas are for rest and connection. So when you go to the bedroom, no having gadgets. When we are at the dining, no having gadgets. Or if we are eating, gadgets must be away. Guys, this will help. You start it, jokingly, and before you know it, it's something that you're practicing and your kids are used to it. I mean, there are places you go and kids are on gadgets, all of them. It's eating time. There's one that I watched on TikTok. I liked that mom. I actually liked the video. The mom was serving food and every kid was coming in with a plate, but with a gadget. So the mom was putting the plate was giving them the plate and putting their gadgets. Yeah, putting a gadget, because it seems like they had phones and tabs. So the mom was calling them to the kitchen. They all came, but they came with their tabs and phones. So what the mom did was giving them the plate and putting a gadget on top and sending them off. But because they were so consumed by their gadgets and what they were watching, they didn't even notice that on the plate was a gadget. And so when they got to the table trying to get and eat with the spoon, nothing was coming up until they all looked on their gadgets, on their plates, and so there were gadgets on there. And that's when they gave up the whole, having gadgets. So we need to create a tech-free zone where the bedrooms, it's time for sleeping, for connecting, for resting. They shouldn't be having gadgets. We need also to create screen Sabbaths, where you pick one day a week to go device free for a few hours. You just say, like, for these hours on Sunday, we don't have gadgets. No one has a gadget on Sunday at this time, from maybe 8 to 2. So no gadgets. That way you get to mingle, talk about life, laugh, watch a movie together, play cards. Now they are going to break off for holiday. We shouldn't buy them these gadgets and just leave them to, what? Yeah, because we are too busy. And so we leave them to, take care of themselves while using these social media platforms. Yeah, you need to also set bedtime boundaries. You can say that like all the phones will be out by 10 p.m. Yeah, you can say all phones should be out by 10 p.m. Encourage creation over consumption. When I say that, let them make content. Yeah, they can learn how to make content. What do I mean by that? They can get into music and they just learn how to play guitars because they have them, or play keyboard, or just sing, or draw, or vlog, instead of endless scrolling. Because that endless scrolling, I was talking to one of my kids and asked her, when you just sit there and just scroll, this one is now really small, she's about 6, and I was already concerned about social media and mental health, because I am even forced to reduce on the light for she doesn't get tired. If she runs her tab battery out, she gets someone else's phone. If they run that phone out, she asks for someone else's. It's like she doesn't get tired. So I told her, what do you feel? When do you feel it's enough to stop? And she's like, when I sleep and I start feeling my eyes are itching. And I told her that is a sign you're tired. So you need to sleep so that you don't wear glasses, because even that blue light that comes off the screens of our gadgets, guys, is not good for us. Neither is that light that comes off on our phones, whether it's blue or whatever color. It's not good for us. So we need to limit the time that we are on our gadgets. Praise authenticity is another thing. One of our solutions is to praise authenticity. Compliment who they are, not just what they post. You need to tell your child you're brilliant. They need to hear that, because once they don't get it at home, guess what they will do? Look for it somewhere else. And that's not what we want as parents. We want our children, or you want your child to grow up confident, knowing that it's not the world out there that validates who they are. They know for sure they are. Like, I can never forget one of someone who told my kid when she was really younger that you look like a monkey, and it hurt her so much. By the time I came to pick her, she was like, "Mommy, someone abused me, said I look like a monkey," and she was all in tears. And then I told her, let's go to the mirror. We drove and got home, and I told her to stand in front of the mirror. And then I told her, when you look at yourself, does a monkey look like you? And she said, no. Well, don't you see something is wrong with whoever said it? Don't you see you are God's creation and you look pretty? And she said, yes, I do. Then she stopped crying. It is our job as parents. That's why I call this the parents' guide. Us as parents to praise authenticity. Compliments to our children should be showered frequently so that they know who they truly are. There are times I praise my children and they say that is motherly love, mommy. It's not the truth. It's just motherly love. And I'm like, call it what you want. You are good. You are this. I tell it to them. When we put them down, like I had this mom call one of her kids that you have a big head like your father. No wonder you are ugly like your father. You are the one who went and had her with that man that you're calling ugly. And now your daughter has to deal with that weight that comes from you. And then where will she get the audacity to stand on those social medias? And if she does, and someone says a word, don't you see that her world is really standing thin? Because at home she's getting that, and someone here goes on social media and says you are ugly, you shouldn't even be on social media. That will cause more mental health for our children if we keep that up. And I want us also to remember, replace judgment with guidance. To say, how did that post make you feel? If you get to know they are posting things, like I landed on this video of one of my nieces that I didn't know was on TikTok, and she was going, twerking and dancing, doing all these moves I never thought she could do. And I bet you the mom has never seen. I didn't share the link with the mom so that the mom doesn't get disappointed. But she's now forced to do that secretly. But again, that on the side. This teen is being expressive like that, because on there when she gets likes, she's like, I'll post more. So you can go ahead and also ask your teenager, how did that post make you feel? Instead of that is a silly post. Because trust me, she's put it out there. There are people who are going to see it as other things. that is not silly, but very beautiful, or this or the other. So do you see how our teens live in the eyes of the public as opposed to the eyes that they know they are? Because if at home I get to be down talked, you know, I'm always accused, I'm told I don't look good enough, I don't measure up, I will look for validation from people who say good things about me. So that's when social media comes in. And if I don't get that validation, guess what I see and feel? I feel like things are not working out. That is all leading to mental health. Now, it leads us to segment 8, where we talk about healing and prevention of mental health. If your child's mental health is already affected by social media, because guess what? It has been there for a long time, and we are just realizing, guys, mental health is real. Mental health is happening. There are people who have, just signed out of this life simply because they cannot take it anymore. Someone said something, or someone posted something, or someone commented something, and they couldn't take it. And guess what? They ended up taking their own lives, which wasn't good. But now that we know it is real, we are going to look at how to prevent and help heal mental health. So if your child's mental health is already affected, maybe anxiety, it is affected with confidence, with isolation, don't panic. Healing is possible, guys. Healing is very much possible. One thing that we should do for starters is talk openly. Gone are the days when we would sit with our parents and they talk to us. Us as parents now of this online generation, guys, we need to talk to our children openly. Like if you see she's good at something, praise her. If he's good at something, praise him, so that they don't go out there seeking for it. An example, if I didn't grow up with a dad, I will have dad issues, men issues. I don't know how to conduct myself with men. I don't respect them because I didn't grow up with a man. Now, if a child grows up without a parent's praise, that you are able, you are capable, you are beautiful, you are all these good things, they will grow up like a shoe that has been, have you seen those shoes that have bent off one side and it's like they've tipped off, one side has basically just faded off? Yeah. Those shoes, even when you're walking, they make you walk a certain way, like you have a tip, a bend at some end. Why? Because the shoe has molded your walk. Now, the words that we shower in the lives of our children growing up will either make them grow up as confident human beings or human beings that have no self-worth. Now, social media is doing that greatest part of putting our children down and causing them to have mental health. Now, what do we do about it? Everything, charity starts at home. Start with you as the parent. Play your part. Talk to your child openly. Ask about what makes them anxious online. Ask them. If they say, I feel anxious if people don't like, if people don't view, tell them to get offline or offline for some time, so that they are able to reconnect themselves and get to know that they are not valid, they are not what their followers said they were, so that they know for themselves who they truly are before going out to the world that is harsh and judges without mercy. So we need to talk to our children openly. And if you've had experiences where someone was not, good to you, say it was mean, share that as well, so they know they are not alone. They know it has happened before, but look how far you have become. Like I remember one time one of my daughters came home and said, "Oh, mommy, at school, what is training on social media? You have to be an hourglass kind of girl, otherwise you're not." And I'm like, who said that? And she said, oh, it's on social media. And those kind of people get so many likes, they get so many praises. And I'm like, okay, they do. But how many of them are married? How many people have you seen in real life that are married with those hourglasses figures? And that's when she got quiet and she said, well, I don't know. And I'm like, well, it goes to show you that works for a generation. At the end of the day, when you've grown up, you see for yourself that it's not about how the man looks, the muscles or the packs that he's got on himself. It is, can you live with this person? Can I wake up with this person? Can we get along? Because that's what makes a relationship. You don't relate with this. You don't live with a six pack. Much as you wake up and see it, that doesn't put food to the table. That doesn't treat you right. Yeah, it is the person. So at the end of the day, there are some things that are core, but we need to talk and speak about them with our children, having those open talks with them. Guys, I know we want to protect them by not talking about certain things, but guess what? Not talking about them doesn't mean they are not there, because they are there. We are just escaping reality for a time, and it's pending. Have you put something on hold for some time? I remember there was this boy at school who didn't want to cough in public because he had a breaking cough, and once he coughed, it was like you hit two wooden things, and so he kept it in. But when it has come, it has come. You need to let it out. He kept it, and by the time he was ready to let go, oh my goodness, it was so many things happening at the same time. And just take it like every hole had to release, and it was a mess. He skipped school for about 3 weeks so that people can forget. But who could forget that? I mean, I'm here and I'm telling you about it. So the things that we keep away, like talking about things, substantial things with our children, having those open talks with them. If we push them thinking they are too young, they can't take this, I can't look in their eyes and tell them this, the world will tell them. And I hope you're ready for what the world will tell them. And guess the other thing that will happen when the world tells them it's not merciful, it's merciless, and you won't like the result. So the best you can do is talk about life with your children. And if you can't, maybe you can let them subscribe to my channel and be on listening for listening terms for these programs, because some of these programs would really be beneficial for us as parents, but also our children. Remember, this channel is all about digesting the Bible with Winfred, but Friday it's about digesting the heart. So issues of the heart, you can go ahead and let them tune in. It would help them also learn how to be better people. But again, it's best when it comes from the parent. Another one is rebuild self-esteem offline through achievements, through volunteering, or hobbies. We need to rebuild the esteem of our children offline, because online can break them and they make them feel like they are not good enough. They are not measuring up to the world standards. They are not trending. There are some things I do out of spite for my kids, and I just I gave you that cup, I think it is trending, and my daughter is like, Mommy, I think you're mistaking the word. It's not supposed to be used in that context. But I do, and I do it intentionally, just to try and get them to talk, just to try and get into their world by using their terms. I may use them wrong intentionally, but it gets them talking. So the other thing that I was saying is rebuilding their self-esteem. How do you rebuild their self-esteem when the world has broken it up? And do this offline is by speaking, spending time with them. If they have some ability, praise them about it. If they have something good about them, let them know they have it. So the world doesn't come and tell them lies, that they are not good enough, they shouldn't even be here. The world will be cruel, but it should be with us as parents that we encourage them to be who they are. Like they love art, and they are not yet at their best, but they have the passion for art. You tell them you will go places. You just add in more effort. You continue buying the markers, the colors, the books, and let them draw. And before you know it, that one paint, I've seen crazy paints that don't make sense, but you find someone at the art gallery looking at them stealthily, trying to make sense of what the artist was doing, when actually it was a mistake. But if we encourage them, they rise up to greater heights. Like they are singing and they've not got the best voices. Guess what? If you encourage them, they'll even get better and probably realize for themselves that, I think it's not for me. I've tried. I've loved singing. I understand you praise me all the time, But I think it's not for let them realize for themselves, not the world dictating who they are, what they can do, and what they can become. We as parents need to do that. We tend so much to entrust our children to the world, to tame, to bring up, to praise, to lift, when it's actually our job and we should be the ones doing it. I don't believe in boarding schools. That will be a topic of another time. I don't believe in them. I'm sorry, those of you who are for boarding schools and it has worked out positive for you. I don't believe in boarding schools because, for starters, I believe that God gave me these children to raise them up. I mean, if I've failed to play my part as a parent, then boarding school won't do it for me, because the world can't be taught in the same thing. In boarding school, you learn, you wake up at 6, you do this, you do this, you do this, and sleep at this time. Not everyone is going to be cut out to become that in life. Some are going to be nurses who wake up very early and have night duties. Others, and so they need to grow up knowing their lifestyle will be that. Others are probably going to be musicians who perform, on weekends, and so the rest of the week they are chilling. So I want to raise them up and see the difference. Boarding school grooms you all up to be the same. You sleep at 6, you wake up at this. That is why for us who grew up in boarding schools, we tend to have the same things. I know of a great friend who said she grew up when she was told a girl has to know how to prepare matoke. Those of you who don't know what matoke is, it's green banana. And it's one of those staples in Uganda among the Baganda people. They like matoke so much. If you met a Muganda who loves matoke, you'd, get curious and want to taste it as well, because it means a lot to them. They want to eat matoke, lunch, supper, even if possible, breakfast. Now, she was made to prepare matoke. It was hot. When you're making matoke, it has a way you prepare it. You have to press it with your hand when it is hot, and so it would burn her. While they're teaching her that, they are thinking they are equipping her with a life skill of how to be a good wife to her husband. While inside she was breaking, and from there on she hated matoke and didn't like any husband who liked matoke, because it was to her a punishment. Now, she grows up and they made her also because the Baganda take it so much with peanut sauce. It is very tasty for those who like it. And she was making it, and while she was cooking, it spilled over. And when it spilled, it even burnt her legs because she was young doing it. And it spilled over her feet. And instead of them, working on her because she had hurt herself while cooking, remember she was young, they beat her because they had lost some peanut sauce in the process, and they beat her. Now she grew up hating matoke and peanut sauce. Those are foods that Baganda like, and she's a Muganda, and that's food that she would ideally like. But from there on, she hated it. She doesn't even want to come. If she comes to your house and that's what you prepared, she would rather go hungry than eat. So you see that it's how something was delivered that she hated food that is ideally good for some people. And had they probably brought it a different way, she could have received it different. So guys, how we talk to our teenagers would also be a very big part in their lives, and how they turn out. Like I said, we are rebuilding their self-esteem. We're rebuilding their self-esteem offline through achievements. Praise them for the good things that they have done. If there is anything they are capable of, praise them for that as well. And also for volunteering and hobbies. Another thing that we need to do is limit social comparison. Unfollow toxic accounts together. Get into her accounts. And if she happens to tell you someone did this and the other, don't be like, let's take away the gadget. You can talk about it, and then you'll be like, let's unfollow this one, because this one is not any good. They don't have positive things to put out. What they are putting out is not good for you because you're always comparing yourself. We are actually raising a generation of people who are unsatisfied. They are always looking for the next happening thing. And that is a bad thing. We don't know that we are doing, but we are doing. Because when a person grows up unsatisfied, it is not only in social media things, where for now you're looking at them not being happy about their lives. It is also them not being happy about what they have. If it is in terms of men, they want always better. If it is in terms of women, they are always looking for the best, the latest that has just popped. If it is clothes, it's shoes. So it's a bad thing that needs to be removed from the root immediately before it spreads to something really big. And seek professional help if needed. We can go that way, guys. I am made to understand now there is counseling going on. Counseling isn't failure. It's wisdom. If you happen to get to that stage where nothing can help, you failed as a parent to reach your teenager, you can go ahead and use counseling. It will help. Most importantly, I would say, and this is very key. I should have started with this, but I chose it intentionally to put it last. You need to pray for your teenagers daily. And guys, remind your teenagers daily, you are more than your profile. We need to do that daily. We need to pray for them. They are battling with so much. Like I said, it's the very first generation that has got to grow up online, purely online. Like for months, we have gadgets in front of them. So they grow up with these things. This for them is not just apps. It is lifelines, guys. Social media is lifelines. They need TikTok like they need the air they breathe. They need, Snapchat like they need water. So we need to pray for them daily and remind them that they are more than their profile. If they don't know that, they think if the profile picture was not good, they are not any good. If it didn't get enough likes, then they are not worth anything. If they didn't get good comments, then that is the end of life. We need to pray for them so that God will help them, and also pray for ourselves that we could be better parents, understanding of what the era they are in. We cannot stay in that lock of our generation. How come we grew up, we didn't have these things? Now, how can you say because I didn't get it, I won't give it to you? And you refuse to give them gadgets. That will send them into a hole that you don't want to dig them out of. Because our era didn't have these gadgets, but theirs does. Guess what? They need these gadgets to be able to progress in life. Because how can you be with your friends at school and everyone is saying we are in this WhatsApp group, the teacher sent work, and it's only your kids that are not in that group? Simply because of your fears. You're worried they may get on there and start on the wrong. Talk to them as a parent. Tell them what is good. Like I said, talk openly. Tell them everything has its good and it has its bad. But let them not be lookers for the bad, but also good out of what they have been exposed to. Because any other way, like depriving them of them, won't be a solution. Not a long time one anyway. Like their parents who say, I'm going to take away these gadgets from my kids because when they're on there, they get on the wrong sites. Well, they may get on those sites. But guess what? They need those gadgets for the good that also the sites have, the apps have to offer. Yeah, so that is one of those things. You need to remind your teenagers that they are more than their profile picture. Social media shows them fragments, not full people. It shows them bits of what people's lives are. I mean, there are people that I know that are really actually struggling in real life. But on social media, they are in these places that are posh. Some of them just even go there to take pictures. They go and you're like, but these ones are always going out. But when they are going out, it's not like they are eating. They are on elevators. They are in the toilet areas. They're in the compound, always smiling. Social media shows fragments of their lives, not full people. So we need to remind that to our children. They need to hear the truth from us, not what social media is putting out. And that leads us to segment 9, parents' inner work. Us as parents, we have a work to do regarding our children's mental health and social media. And before we wrap up, I want us to speak heart to heart as parents. Sometimes we project our fears onto our kids. That is something I also heard. We project our fears onto our kids. You're like, if I get her phone, then she might get on there and start doing things. We project our fears because I had so and so got on there, and after that gave them their location and people came and took them, or, we can always project our fears on our children. So I hope if there's any parent that is watching, you let me know if that is something that is true or if it is not. The fear of losing control also keeps us from allowing our teenagers to use social media. Sometimes they are on there and doing the right thing. They are on there with their friends from school. They are on there with talking to only people they know. They are only there following godly people if you're a religious person. So we are afraid that if we allow them to use this social media, they will not depend on us. Things will be out of our control. They will get ideas on what is out there and start being demanding, or this and the other. So that fear is also in us as parents, the fear of losing control, of failing as well. Because once your child gets on those social media platforms, they may realize, oh, I didn't have the best dad, I didn't have the best mom. The way we were brought up was wrong, because this is actually the right way we should be going. Because on there is not only bad on social media platforms, there is also good. And they could follow people who are Christians or into developmental things. And the fear of failing as parents has kept us from letting our teenagers get on these social media platforms. Also not keeping up. We don't know what is out there. And so we think once a kid asks for a phone, it's way out there. It's common, guys. And this is something we all need to know as parents. It is as common as drinking water at school for teenagers to have gadgets. Because they don't only use it for socialization, but also they use it for education purposes, where they have assignments, where they have to do research, and they have to do homework. Sometimes the teachers, with a new curriculum, they give them homework where they have to go research on their own, because right now the curriculum is more like child-centered. It is the child supposed to find out for themselves, not the teacher spoon-feeding them. So once we get that, we can always be flexible on gadgets, allowing our teenagers to also use them. And now I'm going to open up a slot and read some of your comments. Guys, you have been amazing. Let me read some comments before we continue further. Dina says, hello. Hello, Dina Max. Thank you so much for being the very first one to tune in. And you said, everyone, you are welcome. Dina says, please like and subscribe. Thank you so much, guys. Like and subscribe. It's a live podcast. Go ahead and like and subscribe. If you've enjoyed so far what we have covered, go ahead and like or subscribe. It will lift my dopamine, like we've been talking about in teenagers, and probably I'll function better. Go ahead and subscribe. And Margaret Navainda says hello. Hello, Margaret. Thank you so much for tuning in. And Boots says hello, everyone. Hello, Boots. Thank you so much for tuning in. And Boots says, I think I need help here. I hope you have been helped, Boots, on the topic that we've just discussed. And Cedric says, hello, everyone. And Cedric says, I didn't know mental health, social media affects even adults' mental health. Nice topic. You're welcome, Cedric. Thank you so much for tuning in. Guys, those were your comments. It's a live podcast. And I wanted to know what your take was with your teenagers. And as for the topics, the questions that I posed, I'm yet to hear, guys. Let me know who is watching and whether you agree with social media and mental health are connected. Because today the topic is social media and mental health, a parent's guide version, so that we are guided as parents and we don't, miss out on what is going on, or, think wrong of what is going on. When they talk about mental health, it is real, guys, and it's affecting many teenagers. Some of them don't even know why they are here, why they are struggling with school. Dina Max says, I'm watching and I agree. Thank you so much, Dina Max. I wanted to know, what issues have you got with your teenager? Is it screen time, where they spend so much time on the screen, or is it this sleep disruption? What is it that you're having with social media regarding your teen? You can go ahead, Dina Max, and let me know what you think. Otherwise, it's open, guys. It's a live podcast. I want to know who else is watching and what your take is. Do you agree social media has played a part in the mental health of our children, where some of them have even got mannerisms of being disrespectful because they see it on social media? There are things my kids have asked for, and they're like, Mommy, we watched so and so. And for them, their family is nice. They are always doing these things. And I'm like, that is what they have allowed you to see. It is not real. When they are having bad days, they are not screaming. They are putting that on the side and showing us only good time. That is why we are so much under pressure. And Dynamax says they no longer give me time and are ever on their screens. Yeah, I hope, Dynamax, that helped, what we just shared, how you can control it. We need to incorporate them into our lives, make time for them. They are coming home for holiday. Teenagers are coming. They are going to be on a break. I think in Uganda, it's the longest holiday we have, the Christmas one, where it's about 3 months. I mean, they are not going back to school for November, December, January, and probably going back in February. And some are breaking off in November. So you can imagine that's a long time. We can buy playing cards. Playing cards are 1,000 shillings, guys. And you can play cards, or you can buy a ball and play outdoor things offline. That is how we get them to release that energy and not, be bent on being on social media all the time. We can also have, just if your kid is into drawing, you buy books and just draw, pencils and books, and just compete drawing. And they just know that on these days we draw. Or you can open up gardens that you plant maybe things and see who grows faster. How do you take care of those different crops or animals? Like if you have rabbits or if you have chickens, they have time away from all gadgets, because that screen time is also not good. Otherwise, thank you, Dynamax, for that comment and for sharing. And if there is no any other comment, I will wait and continue. Guiding our children through social media starts with us. Healing too starts with us. We need to be the ones to guide them. If as a parent I can't leave TikTok, I'm glued on there from morning. Before I know it, it is 5 o'clock and I've not even made breakfast. How will my teenager be able to do different? So we need to guide them by example and not allowing social media to take over our lives. It starts with us, and the healing also starts with us. So ask yourself, do I use my phone to escape stress? If you are that kind of person who uses your phone to escape stress, trust me, even these teenagers are doing the same. They are escaping you and the stress that you're bringing, or the stress that is out there for them. If your answer is yes, start your own digital detox journey. When I say on detox journey, in this sense, it's a digital one where you as the adult start off by cutting off on the time you're on there. I mean, I used not to be so much on social media, but I like Candy Crush. I play. You won't believe the levels I'm on, but I like Candy Crush. But inside me is something that tells me I need to do other things. So I play for maybe an hour, pause and get to do other things, or for 30 minutes, pause and do something else. Because otherwise, if I don't do that, I can't be able to talk to my kids and tell them stop when I can't stop myself. But now if yours is not Candy Crush, because we don't have the same cup of tea, yours could be something else. You need to be able to detox yourself. That digital detox is what I called it. And then be able to help your teenager as well. When you model balance, your kids follow silently. I mean, if your kids start saying, oh, mommy is not on the phone anymore so many times, I need also to change. Mommy is seated at the table alone. They start realizing, and she's seated there without a gadget. But if I come on there with a gadget, trust me, I've lost the platform already. They will come on with theirs as well. And you cannot say put away gadgets when yours is right there. So we model, when you model balance, your kids follow silently. So what have we learned today, if I may ask, before we conclude, or before we wrap up? Social media isn't the enemy, guys. If there's anything that we have learned, social media isn't the enemy. It's the mirror. If you know what a mirror does, it reflects what already is inside us. So we need to know that it's not an enemy that we need to fight. Social media is this. It's not an enemy. And Dina Max says, I think I should digital detox myself from politics. You should, if my dear, your politics is getting out of hand, you should self-digital detox. Yeah. And it would help, because when we are so much caught up on these social media things, our kids are noticing, and they can even come and ask for things you don't ideally say yes to. And you will say yes because you're so caught up. So yeah, Dina, I think that is right. You need to, if you feel like it's too much, you need to self-detox on that one, so that you have, healthy teenagers and keep mental health at bay. And like I said, social media isn't an enemy. It's the mirror. It reflects what already is inside us. For teenagers, that reflection can either empower or deny, destiny, depending on how we guide them. We need to be involved in this. Our role as parents is not to ban technology, but to build resilience. Because once we do that and we build resilience in them, social media doesn't have that hold on them. As in, sometimes if they don't get online, if they don't get these many likes, if followers don't grow, if comments don't come in, it doesn't have that hold on them. They've built a resilience where whether that video gets likes or it doesn't, it's okay. Whether the video they've posted or picture they've posted doesn't get comments, it's still okay. They've posted anyway, and they just enjoy posting, if that is the thing. Otherwise, if it's not the case, we keep away from posting and just be until we find ourselves. It is good to see this person who has found themselves and setting themselves. Have you ever met these really confident ladies that are really, you don't see anything going for them, but they have all the airs of the world. And you're like, it gets you curious. You want to know, maybe they have something I'm missing. Maybe they know something. Maybe they've got something that the world doesn't see. But because they are confident, you get curious and you want to associate, or you want to know them and know why they are that hyped or they are that happy all the time. Our role as parent is not to ban technology, like I said, but to build resilience in our teenagers, emotional, mental, and relational resilience. If you take one thing from today, this is something I have to say. that if you're to take one thing from all the things that we've talked about today, let it be this. Be the voice louder than the noise of the internet. You be the parent, you be the noise that is louder than the internet, because the internet will be screaming, this is right, this is wrong, you are not this, you are this. Be the voice that screams louder than what the internet has got to say. It says this is this. You tell them. You tell your children, because they are yours. And the first responsibility falls on you to make sure they land to the other side better people, mentally, spiritually, and physically. So guess what? Be that voice that screams louder than the internet. When the internet is telling your teenagers they are not good enough, you tell them they are, because they truly are. You know, when the internet is telling them they don't measure up, be the one to tell them they are measuring up, and they are what is best for the world today. Because they need to get to that place of realizing that the world standards are not, internet standards are not the world standards. It may sound popular online, but it's not the truth. Talk to your kids is another thing. I want us to talk to our kids. Let's promise that we'll talk to our kids and also laugh with our kids. We need to laugh more with our kids so they know our parents are real. They are not some kind of robots or people that we meet online who laugh and have followers themselves. And you know, it can get to a place where our teenagers don't even know whether this life is real or it's not. It has to be real for them at home, because everything starts at home. Teach them that their value isn't measured on views. You need to teach them that their value isn't measured on views. Guys, you need to teach your teenagers that their value isn't measured on likes, on followers. They need to know that, because if they don't, they'll keep on going to look for that, while it's like chasing after the wind. The wind is wind. Try chasing after it and catching it, you won't. So you need to tell them that. Otherwise, guys, you have been a blast. If you have enjoyed, go ahead and hit that like button. And let me know that you enjoyed what you just watched. Otherwise, I would say thank you for joining me on this powerful conversation. I would call it that: social media and mental health. Parents Guide. It's something that if you have been helped, share it with someone who is another parent, and go ahead and subscribe. On here, we talk about everything except politics. Now, Dina says she needs to detox on digital politics. I am not there. But on here, we talk about anything, life experiences. You know, like I said, Friday is about digesting the heart. And because it's digesting the heart has love, the heart has, you know, finances, investments, it has children, it has everything, family. So if you're one that enjoys that or finds that as a good cup of tea, go ahead and tune in every Friday. You'll be able to watch and unwind well on Friday. Otherwise, go ahead and subscribe. Guys, when you subscribe, you'll be able to get notification of videos as and when they drop in. You'll also be able to access in the archives. We've done so many lives every Friday. So go ahead and binge on them. And also go ahead and subscribe. And go ahead and like if you've been blessed. Otherwise, if this helped you, share with another parent so that we are able to raise up a generation of healthy teenagers and build a community of mindful, modern families. People who are aware, are exposed to what is out there and not running away from it. Otherwise, next time is when we will meet, which is Friday. I've been your host, Winfred, reminding you, don't just raise connected kids. Raise emotionally healthy kids, because connected kids are good, but all they have is connection. We need to have kids that are raised emotionally healthy, when because emotionally healthy kids will give you a better generation. Those who are twisted, my dear, it will be a generation that is filled with lockups and low self-esteem, depression, anxiety, all of those things that are not good. So go ahead and have a pleasant night. I'm glad that you have tuned in, and I hope my camera person can come and turn me off. Otherwise, guys, go ahead as we wait for the camera person to come and let me know what you think of this topic. I've had a good time, and I hope you have as well. Enjoyed yourself, and I'm hoping you have a pleasant night. Otherwise, until next time. Bye, guys, and stay blessed.